Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The ISUPK, under Commanding General Yahana, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person, ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Shalom. This is to all Israelite groups and all Israelite communities and all breakoffs from One West and breakoffs from breakoffs from breakoffs from breakoffs. No matter what rainbow uniform you wear, red, white, purple and white, all white, it don't matter. You should all treat the ISUPK like your weird, misunderstood Sabbaths. You shouldn't do anything until you counsel with the ISUPK. We'll tell you when and what to eat. We'll tell you who to marry. We'll tell you who to have sex with and how. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your wives. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your friends, everybody. We'll tell you when and how to pray. We'll tell you how to direct your life in a way that's pleasing to the Most High God of Israel and our Black King Yahushua, a.k.a. Jesus Christ. We will be to you instead of a God. Just like the Most High told Moses in Exodus 4:16 that Aaron would be to him instead of a mouth and he would be to Aaron instead of a God, that's what we'll do for you. It is what you all need because none of you know what the fuck you are doing. I pray you understand. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of One West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahana. This is the ISUPK Killeen Sabbath service. And with that, I Mijum. La Yashala. Sar, Wahakwadam, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to start with the prayers, the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ab, Ratazaika, Haya, Aisha, Baal Rataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathanlanawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawathnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawafyanawa, Wala'a, Tabia'ayanawa, Banasai 1, Abal, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha Allah, Waha Para, La Iwalumium, Aman in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it. This is the prayer of the power, the Hakak in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Baba Kosha, Nathan Lanawa, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Kal Makala, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, Lahatahar, Ha Matazarayim, Hakak, Lahaquium, Hamathium, Hakak, Al Rakawa, Hata Ma'ala, Lagar Shun, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Tawada Aman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. This is the prayer to bless Israel. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Barak Lanawa, Wa Yasha'ala, Waha Bayaf Saparium, Barak, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Tawada Aman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless us and Israel and the school. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Aisha Ayanya, Ahaharium, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Azariah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hanala'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakayaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal, Ra, Yashamar, Apnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaapka, Wabawa'aka, Ma'atai, Wa'aid, Awalam. In the English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Al Damayalaka, Al Thakarash, Wa Al Thashakwat, Al Kayahana, Awayabaka, Yahama Yawan, Wa Mashanayaka, Sha'a Wa Ra'ash, Al Imaka, Ya Arayam Wa Sawad, Wa Yata Atazawa, Al Tazapawanyaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Wanakyadam, Magawya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Iwad, Kaya, Nawa Atazawa, Lakabya, Salakia, Lakab, La Lab Yakadwa, Alyaka, Barya, Ya Yakarathwa, Alya, Salakia, Ahalya, Adawam, Wa Yashama Alyam, Ma Wa Abba, Wa Hagarium, Gabal, Wa Amawan, Wa Amalak, Palashat, Am Yeshabia, Salakia, Tazawar, Gum Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labinya, Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Lahum, Kamadian, Kasaya Sarah, Kayabian, Banakar, Kwayashwan, Nashamadwa, Ba'ayan, Da'ira, Hayawa, Daman, La Adama, Shayathamwa, Na Dayamawa, Ka'arab, Wakar, Zabah, Wakar Zabak, Wakar Tazamanai, Kal Nasakamwa, Ashar, Amarwa, Na Yarashai, La Nawath, Salakia, La Nawa Ath Nawath, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shayathamwa, Kagargala, Kakwash, La Panya, Raka, Kaash, Tabaira Yaira, Wakala Haba, Talahat, Haryam, Khan, Tharadatma, Basa Irika, Wa Basa Wapatka, Tha Balahum, Mala'a, Panyahum, Kwalawan, Wayaba Kwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wa Yabalwa, Ayaid, Wa Yakaparwa, Waya Abadwa, Wa Yadaiwa, Kaya, Atha, Shamka, Yahweh, Labadka, Al Yawan, Al Kaharataza. In the English, keep not thy silence, O power, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeeb, yea, all their princes, as Zabah and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power in possession. O my power, make them like the wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm, and fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. This is the prayer of the blessing for the power structure. Salakia. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayaka Allah, Wa Alahayim, Matazabaya, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapyum, Ha Saranyum, Ha Kwatazayanyum, Ha Kayalyum, Wa Ha Akwathian, Yahweh, Ba Shim Yahweh Shai, Tawada Amun. In the English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. In the name, Salakia, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. These are the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, and the Israelite brothers and the school. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitatus, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Space Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, ICE, CIA, NSA, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airwaves, the cable access channels, the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael, Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always. So be it. Sar, you can turn and face the podium. Salaki, y'all. One moment. Salaki, y'all. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah to the brothers, and Shalom, Yahweh Shemal Lathan Ba Shem Yahushua to the sisters. We're gonna go ahead and get started in with this Sabbath portion. Numbers chapter 7, verse 71. Up to Numbers 8 and 20. If you have your Bible Hub app, you can follow along in the Hebrew using the interlinear. And we're going to go 7 verses. 49 verses. And then I'll read 7, break it down in English. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Remember the Lord's Passover this April. I believe it's April 3rd. But remember to pay your Passover fee. It's going to be here in Houston, Texas at the B&H Ranch. Pay your Passover fee. If you haven't paid it, you need to be paying your tithes. You know, that's a commandment. But let's go ahead and get into this. Numbers chapter 7, verse 71 in the Hebrew. If you have any questions, just post them in the chat, and I'll be happy to address them. Salakia. All right. Verse 71. Wala Zabak Hashalamyam Bakwar Shanayim Alayim Hama Aita Dayam Kamash Kabashium Banya Shana Kamash Za Koraban Akaya Azar Ban Amaya Shadaya. Verse 72. Bayawam Aishathaya Aishar Yawam Nashaya La Banya Ashar Pagai Ya'al Ban Aikaran. Verse 73. Korabanwa Kwa'ai Salaki Kwa'aida Kasap Akath Shala Shayam Salakia Wama'a Masha Kwala Mazarak Akkad Kasap Shabayim Salakia Shaba'ayim Shaqual, Bashaqual, Hakwadash, Shalakia, Shanayim, Malaayam, Salath, Balawala, Balawala, Bashaman, La Manaka, Salakia, La Manaka, verse 74. Kop, Akath, Aishara, Zahab, Malaha, Quatarath, verse 75. Parah, Akkad, Ban, Bakwar, Ayal, Akkad, Kabash, Akkad, Ban, Shanaithawa, La'ila, verse 76. Sha'ayra, Zayam, Akkad, Lakatath, verse 77. Wa Lazabach, Salakia, Salakia, Ha Shalayim, Bakwar, Shanayim, Alayam, Kamash, the Dayim, Kamash, Kabashayim, Banya, Shana, Kamash, Za, Quaraban, Pagaya'al, Ban, Akaran. Verse 78, Ba Yawam, Shanayim, Ashar, Yawam, Shayaya, Salakia, Nashya, Labinya, Napathalaya, Aka Yarai, Ban, Ayanan. All right, in the English, number 7, 71 to 78. Salakia. Verse 71, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Eleazar, the son of Ammishaddai. These are when the princes of each tribe are coming to bring their required offering before the tabernacle to Moses. And it's just naming the heads of those tribes, right? Verse 72, on the 11th day, Pagiel, the son of Akron, prince of the children of Asher, offered. Verse 73, his offering was 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, and after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering. Out of all the 12 tribes, each of the heads had to come and bring the required, it was an equal, everybody had the same portion that they had to bring, but it was from all 12 tribes. And this is just, acknowledging each head or prince of the tribe that was coming and bringing what was required for the service of the tabernacle. Verse 74, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering. Verse 76, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. Verse 77, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Pagiel, the son of Akron. This is from the tribe of Asher. Also, the Venezuelans, Maduro, if he is an Israelite, but the nation of Venezuela, they are the tribe of Asher, all the way down to Guatemala. That's the tribe of Asher. Okay, just want to make you aware of that. All right, the people that are suffering right now, even he said he had his sights. Trump said he had his sights on Colombia. These are the children of Asher. All right, the chosen people of God, the nation of Israel. All right, let's get the next 7 in Hebrew. Verse 79. Korabanua, Quaira, Kasap, Akath, Shalayim, Wama, Salakia, Wa, Ma'ai, Ma, Shakwala, Mashak, Salakia, Ma, Shakwala, Mazarak, Akkad, Kasap, Shabayim, Shakwal, Bashakwal, Hakwadash, Shanithium, Malaayim, Salath, Ba Lawala, Bashaman, Lamanaka. Verse 80. Kop, Akath, Aishara, Zahab, Mala'ah, Quatarath. Verse 81. Parah, Akkad, Bun, Bakwar, Ayah, Akkad, Kabash, Akkad, Ban, Shalakia, Shanatawa, La'ila. Verse 82. Sha'ayira, Izamium, Azayam, Salakia, Akkad, Lakatath, La Kata, Salakia, La Kata'ath. Verse 83. Wala Zabak, Ha Shalakia, Ha Shalaymayim, Bakwar, Shanayim, Alayim, Kamash, Aitadium, Kamash, Kabashium, Banya, Shanya, Kamash, Za, Koraban, Akayai Ra'ai, Ban, Ayanan. Verse 84. Za'ath, Kana, Ka, Nakath, Hamazabak, Bayawam, Mashak, Hamashak, Salakia, Atawa, Ma'ath, Nashiya'aya, Yasha'ala, Kwara'ath, Kasap, Shatamium, Aishara, Mazarakia, Kasap, Shanayim, Aishara, Kapatha, Salakia, Kapawath, Zahab, Shetayim, I Shara. Verse 85, Shalashium, Wama'a, Ha Quara, Salakia Ha Quaira, Ha'akath, Ha'akath, Salakia, Kasap, Washabium, Ha Mazarak, Ha'akad, Ka'al, Kasap, Ha Kalayim, Al Payum, Wa Arabaya, Ma'aiwath, Bashakwal, Hakwadash. Verse 78, on the 12th day, Ahira, the son of Enan, prince of the children of Naphtali, his offering was 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering. Verse 80, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Ahira, the son of Enan. Verse 84, this was the dedication of the altar in the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel. 12 chargers of silver, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold. And when they say spoons, they don't mean like the spoons that you use for dinner. These were like, if I don't know, well, for y'all that was raised in, in American black households, Negro households, some of your parents will have that big spoon and that big fork on the wall. I don't know if y'all remember that or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little older, but imagine that spoon, but imagine it like way bigger. You understand? Like the altar of incense was huge. And so it was like they call it like a ladle, which you use for like soup, but imagine like a big, humongous spoon used for scooping big piles of incense. Because they had to attend to the altar of with incense all day. But you notice how it was 12 chargers, 12 spoons, 12 bowls, is because it was 12 tribes. Everything that was going on with service to the Most High had to deal with the 12 tribes. You have to look at this as like it's kind of like, you got these different little groups out. Like I think they could call like the Germans that came from Germany. They were called the Mennonites or something like that. And then you have like the Amish or like the Mormons and stuff, right? These are all, heathens that took the Bible and tried to create their own religions out of it. But the children of Israel, us being in the wilderness, we were in our own vacuum. This is what the Lord was giving to us to learn how to give service to him, the God and creator of heaven and earth. He wasn't dealing with any other nation. You understand? This was strictly for our culture. You understand? This wasn't for nobody else. This wasn't for everybody. This was strictly for us to learn how to give service to God. That's why Paul says that in Romans 9, right? When he says what pertains to the Israelites, it said the service of God, because the Israelites were the only ones that could serve him. And his service was in the tabernacle. This wasn't like, going to church and raising your hands and singing songs. This was these actions right here. You understand? Which was a figure of things to come. But even in the kingdom, we're gonna have that. You understand? You can find that like in Ezekiel 48. All right, but let's keep going. Verse 86. Kapawath, Zahab, Shetayim, Aisharah, Mala'ath, Quatarath, Aisharah, Hakap, Bashakwal, Hakwadash, Kal, Zahab, Ha-Kapawath, Aisharayim, Wamaya. Verse 87, Kal, Habakwar, La'ailaha, Salakia, La'ailah, Shanayim, Ashar, Parayim, Alayim, Shanayim, Ashar, Kabashium, Banya, Shanaya, Shanayim, Ashar, Wa Manakatham, Wa Sha'airayim, Salakia, Wa Sha'ai Yaraya, Izayim, Shanayim, Ashar, Lakatath, Lakatath. Verse 88, Wakal, Bakwar, Zabak, Hashalakia, Salakia, Ha Shalamayim, I Sharayim, Wa'a Rabbi Salakia, Wa'a Rabbi Aya, Parayim, Alayim, Shashayim, I Thadayim, Shashayim, Kabashim, Banya, Shanya, Shashayim, Za'ath, Kanath, Hamazabach, Ha-Karaya, Ha-Mashach, Atawa. 89. Wa Baba'a, Masha, All, Ahal, Mawa'ad, Ladabar, Aithawa, Waya Shema'ai, Ath, Hakwa'al, Madabar, Alayawa, Ma'al, Hakaparath, Ashar, All, Aran, Ha'aidath, Ma Bayan, Shanya, Ha Kabarayim, Wadabar, Alyawa. Numbers chapter 8, verse 1. Salakia. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Salakia. Wadabar, Yahweh, All, Mashah, Lamar. Verse 2. Dabar, All, Aharon, Wa'a, Marath, Alyawa, Baha'ai, Lathaika, Ath, Hanarath, All, Mawala, Panya, Ha Manara, Ha Mana Salakia, Ha Mana Wara, Ya'a Yarawa, Shaba'ath, Ha Narawa. Verse 3. Waya'ash Khan Aharan, All, Mawala, Panya, Ha Manawara, Ha Manarawa, Ha'ila, Narathia, Kashar, Tazawa, Yahweh, Ath, Mashah. All right, verse 86. The golden spoons were 12, full of incense, weighing 10 shekels apiece. After the shekel of the sanctuary, all the gold of the spoons was 120 shekels. These were golden spoons that, they had weight. This was like gold and it was big. It's just giving you a visual description. And like I said, it was for the altar of incense. All the oxen for the burnt offerings were 12 bullocks, 12 rams, the rams 12, the lambs of the first year 12, and all the oxen for the sacrifice of the peace offerings were 20 and 4 bullocks, the rams 60, the he-goats 60, the lambs of the first year 60. This was the dedication of the altar. After that, it was anointed. Verse 89, and when Moses was gone into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, and he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat. The mercy seat was the Ark of the Covenant. All right. It was the image of the two angels, the cherubims having their wings covering over the Ark of the Covenant. That was what they refer to as the mercy seat. Okay. The Ark of the Covenant contained the commandments of Moses, right? That was etched on stone. You know, he broke the first set because when he came back down, we were acting a fool with the golden calf, and he shattered the first ones. He had fasted for 40 days, and then he came down, seen us acting a fool, and he smashed them. Then he went back up and fasted another 40 days and got them rewritten again. And this was put into the ark, as well as Aaron's rod, which was a branch of an almond tree, right, that had blossomed. The reason why that got put into the ark was because there was a what you call a the best way to put it is like a casting of lots, which is like throwing dice. You know, a lot of times black mothers in the church, they get mad at brothers behind the church throwing dice when it's biblical. That's what the memorial that we have coming up, Purim. Pure means to cast lots. You understand? Or what they did in front of the when Christ was executed by our enemies, they threw dice over his garments. You understand? But casting lots, that was the Urim and the Thummim, which is how the priest would, you know, discover a matter. It was by casting lots, like to make a decision, or even to discover if someone had done something. You would cast lots. So they casted lots to see which tribe would be the tribe that would do service, and they handed out these branches to each of the heads. And Aaron's rod was the only one that blossomed. It blossomed out almonds, I believe. And so they put that into the Ark of the Covenant. And then there was one bowl of the manna that the Lord provided for us while we were in the wilderness. They put us like a token of the Lord's providing for us in the middle of nowhere, and that was also in the Ark of the Covenant. You understand? But this remained in the tabernacle, and when the high priest, which was it was Aaron, but Moses would go and speak to the Most High. This is where he said he heard the voice coming from the mercy seat. He's hearing the voice of the Most High speak from the Ark of the Covenant. I just want to make that clear. All right, I'm going to start again, verse 89. And when Moses was gone into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, then he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat that was upon the ark of testimony, which is the Ark of the Covenant, from between the two cherubims, and he spake unto him. All right, that's what I was just describing to you earlier. Verse 8, and the Lord spake unto Moses. Verse 2, speak unto Aaron, and say unto him, when thou lightest the lamps, the 7 lamps shall give light over the candlestick. Now, this is what he's talking about right here, right? The menorah. All right, but this is not what it necessarily looked like at the time. All right, at the time, it kind of looked more like a you got to think about like dang. It was like this, but it was more like spaced out, and it was bowls of oil. Like we put candles in this, but you got to imagine like each was like a bowl, and it was spread out, and the oil flowed from these branches into the bowls to keep it lit. All right. So, and you got to think about this. The tabernacle was like a big tent. You think about when you go into a circus, how big a tent is. Like when they have like a circus acts and the tent that covers. You got to imagine the tabernacle was like that. So this menorah was lighting the entire tabernacle. That's why he says here, speak unto Aaron and say unto him, when thou lightest the lamps, the 7 lamps. And that's how you know these people that call themselves the Jewish man. Their menorah has 9, and it all comes out of that Talmud, which is garbage. You know what I'm saying? They stole our culture and they twist and change what the actual scriptures say. They don't even align with what the Torah actually says. You understand? You understand? What they do is they operate off of the traditions of men and make up their own things to try to act as if, through what they call it, like the commentary of the rabbis over thousands of years, this is what it is now. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, Peter said, let us obey God and not man. Right? But they're not even the chosen people of God. You understand? But it's 7 branches, 7 bowls. All right. And it says, and Aaron did so. He lighted the lamps thereof over against the candlestick as the Lord commanded Moses. So the Lord commanded Moses, Moses commanded Aaron. That's how the Lord deals. He doesn't deal with multiple people. That's another lie of the Christian church. They make you feel like God is talking to everybody. The Lord, it's like, imagine this, like people thinking that, the Lord talked to them. It's like, in the military or even like in the government. You hear Donald Trump speaking, but you don't speak to Donald Trump. You understand what I'm trying to say? And when I say speak, I mean like direct conversation. Like he'll speak to somebody, and then they go and speak to somebody, and they go and speak to somebody, and then that's how stuff gets done. Or even if you just want to keep it simple, like in the military, you might work on a base. You might be like a soldier, whatever, like a E1, E5, whatever like that. But the general doesn't talk to you. The general talks to his generals. Then those generals talk to their colonels and lieutenants. Then those lieutenants talk to the majors, and then the majors talk to the captains, and then or however it is, the captains talk to the majors, and the majors talk to the whatever officers are under them, non-commissioned officers, and the orders get done. Now, if the oppressor has that understanding of rank and structure, why do we think that the creator of heaven and earth is talking directly to us? Let me tell you how heavy it is. In Revelations, when John had the vision and it said everybody was weeping, right? Because there was nobody that was authorized to open up in the seals on the scroll, right? And then it said it looked as one standing as a lamb slain, which was Christ, right? And John began to weep because we've been suffering the oppression of our enemies for so long, and at the time there was nobody worthy. The scrolls, or like you want to picture like this right here, it was sealed with like seals. Like back in the day when you would send messages like from a king, it would be on a scroll and it would be sealed with wax, and it would be like a signet. It would be marked with a signet, and the only person that could open it and read it was who it was addressed to. Right? You couldn't just take somebody's message and just open it up. So the Lord had this scroll, which was Revelations, the seals, and which is really like revealing the salvation of the Israelites, of our people, and the destruction of our enemies, and the salvation of Christ. And nobody was found worthy to open it except Christ. Meaning that the Lord wasn't communicating with anyone because we had broken the covenant. This entire thing that Moses is doing with Aaron was our communication with the Most High. You understand? But us breaking his commandments and sinning, that turned him away from us. It's almost like, you live in your parents' house and your mama, a lot of us, because our mamas was raising us, you know what I'm saying? But even your father, it's like you breaking the rules in the house, and then you come and ask something, and they're like, I'm not trying to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, they hear you, but they're not hearing you. That's what it was. We were cut off from the Lord. And Christ dying is what reestablished that connection. But it's only through him. That's why it says when you pray in his name. Because otherwise, the Lord is not hearing you. He's not hearing you. And even if you pray in his name and you're not doing what he says to do, he's still not hearing you. You can read that in John chapter 9, where it says that we know that God does not hear the prayers of sinners. He don't hear sinners' prayers. But if you be a true worshiper of him, of God, then he hears you. But I'm letting you know even further that if you're not praying in the name of Christ, the name of Christ means when you see that word name, don't be religious and like spooky. Oh, in the name of Jesus. That's not what that is. It's in his reputation. It's almost like he has excellent credit and you don't. You know how when you go to a bank and you need to get like a cosigner on a loan because your credit is trash, but they'll say, we're not going to loan anything to you. Basically, the bank is saying, I'm not going to hear you. But somebody who has A1 credit, if they cosign, then we'll consider doing a transaction with you. That's how you got to think about it. That's how you got to think about it. Because of what he did, our debts the Lord will not look at our debt that we owe to him, which is the wages of sin is what? Is death. You understand? That's why it's so important. Like, the Christian church is so evil because they never delve into the you got to look at the scriptures and our records as a river. They always want to hop in the middle of the movie and go right into the New Testament. Oh, it's the New Testament. The old is done away with. And you know, that's why Christ said that if you didn't believe Moses' writings, you won't believe my words. You don't even know how to believe on Christ because you don't even understand Moses. You don't even understand what was going on. The history of Abraham to Isaac to Jacob to Moses and everything that we went through, the promise. You don't understand anything. But you do a lot of this, though. Everybody does this. Christian pastors and people just talking and they don't even know. That's why we say this is the home of the truth, man. You understand? This is the same school that Elijah was over. This is the same school that Samuel was over. The Lord doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? His prophets always come back into the earth, and we end up doing the same thing. That's why when you read in Revelations when it says that the souls that were under the altar, that's not some type of spooky thing of whispery smoke under an altar and they're dead souls. It means souls means the living beings. When it talks about Noah and the ark, it says what? 8 souls were on the ark. They were alive. The souls under the altar are the men that serve at the altar. To this day, your pastor's not serving at an altar. That's why Christ said, all that came before me were thieves and robbers. He's just a thief. He just wants what's in your pocket. He wants to make you feel good, and because you don't want to be held accountable for what you're doing and how you're living. So that music, playing that organ, it gets into your emotions, and you feel like you're getting goosebumps, and you start feeling all the pain in your life and the trauma, and you start feeling like, oh yeah, God loves me. No, God wants you to keep the commandments. The Lord never wanted you to taste death. He never wanted you to experience, the things that we suffer in this life. You understand? But you gotta fall away from the lies. You know what I'm saying? And confess Christ for real. This ain't like you can't fool the Lord. You can't even fool a woman. A woman know if you love her or not. She know if you really care about her and love her or not. You can't even fool a woman. How you gonna fool the Lord? You be lying to yourself. God know my heart. Yeah, he do. He know it's wicked. That's what Jeremiah said. It's desperately wicked. Meaning that all that really means is that you are about you. You're selfish. You're about you. You're not about the Lord. You're about you. And the God that you worship is the God in your mind. That's why people believe in astrology and the stars. Why? Because you believe in the stars and astrology and worshiping the stars and getting a Christmas tree and all that nonsense is because it ain't going to talk back to you. The stars ain't going to tell you you evil. You know you shouldn't have been over there messing with that man like that. You know you got a husband. You know you shouldn't be messing with that woman like that. You know she married. You know you shouldn't be picking up that pipe, smoking that crack. Drugs is sorcery. That's witchcraft. You know you shouldn't be smoking that cigarette. People want a God that's not going to correct them. They want a God that's going to pat them on the back and tell them that what they're doing is okay and I love you anyway. That's what they want. And that's fine. And this is why Christ said, narrow is the path that leads to life, and there be few that find it. Because it's too hard. It's too hard to have to deal with being confronted with who you are. But guess what? I want to die. I'm going to die every day because I don't want no parts of what I think in me before the Most High. I want what he wants. And I pray you want that too. All right. Salakia. Let's keep going. Verse 4. And this work of the candlestick was of beaten gold unto the shaft thereof, unto the flowers thereof. The flowers will be the bowl that expands out, right? like a flower blossom. You know how a blossom look like a little bowl. Some flowers, anyway. Salakia. According unto the pattern which the Lord showed Moses. Everything that we have in the tabernacle in our culture, it was what the Most High showed Moses to do. He gave him the instructions, the same way that he showed Noah the exact specifications and measurements of the ark. You understand? It comes from the Lord, and you know what I'm saying, to us here. That's why it says on earth as it is in heaven. You know what I'm saying? His framework, his template is what we're supposed to reflect down here. Let me see, where did I leave off at? All right, I think I might have went too far. All right, let's go to the next 7. Salakia. Wazah Ma'aisha Ha Manara Ma Kusha Zahab Aid Yakara Ad Parakha Ma Kusha Ha Wa'a Ka Mara Ashar Hara'a Yahweh Ath Mashah Khan Aisha Ath Ha Manara. Verse 5, Wadabar, Yahweh, All, Mashah, Lamar. Verse 6, Kwak, Salakia, Kwaka, Ath, Halawayim, Mathawaka, Banya, Yasha'ala, Wata, Harath, Atham. Verse 7, Waka, the Aisha, Laham, Latarayim, Hazaha, Ilayam, Mawa, Ta Kata'ath, Waha Ibai Salakia, Waha Iba Yaraiwa. Good night. That's a long and. Waha Iba Yarawa. That's crazy. The ire, all, call, Basharayim, Waka Basaiwa, Bagad Yayim, Bagadium, Waha Tahairawas, Wala Kwakaiwa, Para, Ban, Bakwar, Wama Nakathawa, Salath, Balawa Bala, Bashaman, Wapar, Wanaya, Salakia, Shanaya, Ban, Bakwar, the Quaka, or the Quak, Laka Ta'ath. Verse 9, Waha Quara, Salakia, Waha Quara Bath, Ata, Hala Wayam, La Penya, Ahal, Mawa'ad, Waha Quahalath, Salakia, Waha, Quahalath, Ath, Ko, Idath, Banya, Yasha'ala. Verse 10. Waha, Quarabath, Ath, Ha, Layam, Lapinya, Yahweh, Wasa, Makaiwa, Banya, Yasha'ala, Atha, Yadai, Yahum, All, Halayawam. All right. Salakia. Verse 4. And this work of the candlestick was of beaten gold, unto the shaft thereof, unto the flowers thereof was a beaten work according to the pattern which the Lord had showed Moses. So he made the candlestick. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the Levites from among the children of Israel and cleanse them. The Levites were separated from the children of Israel to specifically, all the children of Israel were to serve the Most High, but the Levites were separated from the children of Israel, who were separated from everybody else in the earth. And this was the tribe of Moses, and they were given to do the service. When Moses came back down from doing that 40-day fast with the laws of the Most High, he asked, when he seen them all with the golden calf, he spoke to everybody and said, who is with the Lord? Because, unfortunately, what one person does affects everybody. So when I say we all did it, we all did do it, but everybody wasn't doing it. But we all were doing it. So you know how it'd be a situation going on and you're there and you're like, I'm not with none of this, but you're there. That's what it was. And he asked, who's with the Lord? And the tribe of Levi went over to him first and stood with him, like we with you. And because they did it immediately, the Lord saw that and gave them the service of the tabernacle and of the temple. And then out of the tribe of Levi, he separated the sons of Aaron to do specific work in the tabernacle, because there was a lot of offices, a lot of jobs. There was a department just for incense. It was a department just for slaughtering of the sacrifices. There was a department for brothers that would take the parts of the sacrifice that couldn't be used to take it outside of the congregation to go burn it. There was a department for making the bread, the showbread. There was a department. It was departments for every aspect of the service, like we have here in the ISUPK. Right. So when Paul says there is one body, but many offices, it's not talking about many groups. It just means that within the one body that the one man is the head over, there's many departments. That's all it means. You got people that know that they're Israelites or Christians that think that, one body, many parts or many members means that there's many different denominations and groups. No, that's not what that means. That's why he says that Paul said, I pray that you all be of the same mind, saying the same thing and have the same judgment, because it's one body, right? Everybody, if there was one body, everybody would be saying the same thing in that one body. And then within that one body, for it to function properly, there's many departments. The kidney doesn't do what the bladder does, right? The heart doesn't do what the lungs do, right? The intestinal tract doesn't do what the sexual organs do, but they're all in the same body, working towards one goal, to give life and support to that body. You understand? And the brain governs all of that. There's only one brain. It ain't two brains, it's one brain. It's one head. You even got two eyes, right? Two ears, but it's just one head. That's how the Lord do. You know what I'm saying? And think about it. the thoughts that come into the brain, right? The brain sends that down to the body, right? But what if the hand started doing something that the brain didn't say do? From a medical standpoint, they would say you have a problem. You have a physical problem. There's something going on with you. Something is doing motion and moving, but the brain didn't give the order to it, right? There's a dysfunction going on. They call it like a malady or abnormality. Why would the body of Christ be any different? It's just something to think about. All right, you just got to use practical knowledge, common sense. All right, Salakia. Verse 7. And thus shalt thou do unto them to cleanse them. Sprinkle water of purifying upon them, and let them shave all their flesh. Let them wash all their clothes, so make themselves clean. Then let them take a young bullock with his meat offering, even fine flour mingled with oil, and another young bullock shalt thou take for a sin offering. And thou shalt bring the Levites before the tabernacle of the congregation, and thou shalt gather the whole assembly of the children of Israel together. So he wants them to get prepared by getting shaving and getting clean, washing themselves. And then they're going to present them before the tabernacle, but the whole nation is going to see this, right? Verse 10, and thou shalt bring the Levites before the Lord and the children of Israel, and shall put their hands upon the Levites. Moses and Aaron putting their hands on the Levites in front of the nation of Israel is showing their authority. It's like them being elected, because the Levites covered a lot of stuff. They were the lawyers, meaning they were the studiers of the law. They were the police, because if you violated a commandment, they were the ones that you had a department that would come and get you. If you were accused of adultery and there was 2 witnesses, that was it. There wasn't no you going to defend yourself. It's not true. They lying on me. If it was 2 witnesses saying, yeah, she was messing on her husband with that dude right there. There was no prisons. We didn't have jails. You understand? The Levites would come and get you. And then, they dig a hole and they bury you up to your neck. And then all of the congregation would come with rocks and throw it at your head till you was dead. You know what I'm saying? So the Levites were the police. They were the lawyers. They were also the doctors. If you had some type of skin rash or you had an illness and stuff, you have to go to them and they'd be like, okay, yeah, you got to be separated from the congregation. You got to go be quarantined. The whole idea of quarantining came from the Lord. When somebody's not well or if they have some type of issue that is like a communicable disease, the Levites were the ones that dealt with that. They would identify it, diagnosis, and then they would give their recommendation about your course of action to preserve the health of the congregation, the community. So they had a lot of different functions. Okay, so this is why they were being separated from Israel, because all of us had to realize, okay, they're the ones that, like under Moses and Aaron, they're the what you want to call like the government, the administrative government with the different departments. Like in a city, a city municipality, you got like code enforcement and just people that come and work on utility, just different things. That was them, and that's what's going on right here. It's just letting everybody know that like these are the police. So when you see like when Paul says that we're not under the law, it's not meaning that we're not under the commandments. You just don't understand. That's why Paul says I speak to law to them that know the law. You know what I'm saying? You just can't pick up the Bible and think you're going to understand what you're reading. You understand? When Christ said we're no longer under the law, it meant that we're not under the Levitical police anymore. They can't come and punish you for what you've done. You understand? So like when you had like the Pharisees and they grabbed that woman who was caught in adultery, right? In Matthew 23, Christ or Yahushua says the Pharisees and Sadducees, they sit in Moses' seat. What was Moses' seat? It was the seat of authority. Whatever he said was what the Lord had told him. That was law. He said, he was like, they sit in their seat. He said, everything they tell you to do it. Which is what? Keep the law. So Christ said to keep the law. Oh, Christ had a new law. No, Matthew 23, he says, whatever they tell you to do, do it. But don't do it like they do. He said, because why? They say, but do not. Meaning don't follow a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite. Do what they tell you. Like, you ever had, you had some parent, our black parent, some of our parents be like, do as I say, not as I do. They tell you don't smoke cigarettes, don't be out late drinking, don't go to the club, don't be dealing with the riffraff, right? Or don't do drugs. You be like, but Pop, you smoke cigarettes. Or but Mama, you do drugs, you get drunk. Do as I say, not as I do. I want to do parents, it's crazy. Like, this is why, Christ was like, we just repeat tradition. We end up with saying them same things to our children. Just pass it on because grandma, Meemaw did it. Big Paw did it. We just do the same thing. Paw did it. We just do the same thing. No. For you to be born again, you can't be a hypocrite. The thing that you say, you better be doing it. You better do it. You better be doing the thing that you say. You understand? But when Paul said we're not under the law, he meant that we're not under the police anymore. They can't police us. When they brought that woman to Christ, they were the police. And they were testing him to see, like, do you really have authority? It's like when you see corrupt cops nowadays in the projects. They arrest you for selling drugs, but then they take those drugs and they sell them to another drug dealer. Or they take the money that you made from selling drugs and they keep a portion of it and then take some to the evidence room. Now, we're not under them. Let me ask you a question. If you live in a projects, right, or you live in a neighborhood, right, and there's corrupt police, how can you not be under their authority and jurisdiction? What's the only way? They're corrupt. They're the law, and they say you're under the law. Like, I can arrest you. That's what under the law means. Like, you're under arrest. The only way for you to not be under the law is to what? Keep the law. Because what did Paul say? The law was made for evil men, for murderers, thieves, adulterers. That's who the law was made for, people that break the law. But if you're a law-abiding citizen, if you keep the law, then whether he's a corrupt cop or not, he can't affect you because you don't do drugs, you don't sell drugs, right? You don't steal, you don't kill, right? That's why Paul said that through the law, I'm free from the law. See, y'all don't. It's just slang. Y'all don't understand it, But that's why you're not supposed to get into Paul without talking to a prophet of God. Peter told you that. He told you that. He said, Paul speaking many hard things, right, that people don't understand. They twist it unto their own destruction. Think about Paul as like, it's not really complicated, but Paul is like, for regular people, it's like calculus or like quantum physics or something like that. You need somebody who's been studied in it, the law, to tell you about what Paul was saying. Because if you don't understand Moses, you ain't gonna understand Christ. If you don't understand Moses and Christ, you're not gonna understand Paul. That's just it. All right. So don't be quoting no Paul. Oh, the Gentiles, everybody can be quiet. Just be quiet. Stop. Just be quiet. Ask questions, but don't speak like an authority. Don't tell the men of the Lord what it is. Just ask questions. If people had enough sense to do that with Christ, to come and ask a question, but don't come and try to state what it is because you read something. If I pull out Black's Black's law book right now and ask you what this means, the legalese, you're not gonna be able to tell me that. You can say, oh, it says this, but what does it mean? So just ask questions. Don't make statements with authority because you're not an authority. You have to be authorized, and that's what Moses is doing right here with the Levites. He's authorizing them before the children of Israel. Okay. Let me see, verse 9. And thou shalt bring the Levites before the tabernacle of the congregation, and thou shalt gather the whole assembly of the children of Israel together. And thou shalt bring the Levites before the Lord, and the children of Israel shall put their hands upon the Levites. All right, let's get to verse 11. We're going to finish off to 20, and we'll be done. Waha, Nayap, Aharon, Halayawam, Thana, Wapa, Lapanya, Yahweh, Ma'ath, Banya, Yasha'ala, Wahayawa, La'ibad, Ah, Ibadath, Yahweh, Waha, Layawam, Wasa, Makawa, Aha, Yadayim, All, Ra'ash, Haparayim, Wa'aisha, Ah, Ha'akad, Kata'a, Wa'ath, Ha'akad, Ilaha, Yahweh, La Kapar, Io, Ha Layam. Salakia, verse 13. Waha I Salakia. Wa Hadai Mad Salakia. Sorry, y'all, I'm under the weather or allergy. Salakia. Wa Ha'ai Madath Ah Ha like Ha La Ha Lawayam La Pinya Aharan Wa La Pinya Banyawa Waha Napath Atham Thana Wapa Yahweh. Verse 14. Waha Badala Ah Ha Layawam Mathawak Salagia. Banya Yasha'ala Waha Yawa Laya Ha Layawam Salakia. Wa'a Karaya Khan Salaki. Yaba Awa Ha Layawam La Ibad Ah Aho Mawa'ad Watara Atham Waha Napath Atham the Na Wapa. Verse 16. Kaya Natha Nayam Hama Laya Mata Waka Banya Yasha'ala Pakath Patara Call Rakam Bakawar Call Mabenya Yasha'ala Lakwa Kataya Atham Laya. Verse 17. Kaya Laya Call Bakawar Ba Banya Yasha'ala Ba'adam Waba Bahama Bayawam Hakataya Call Bakawar Barataza Matazarayam Ha Kwadashaya Thaya Atham Laya. Verse 18. Wa'akwaka Salakia Wa'akwak Ah Hayalawam Paka Call Bakawar Babanya Yasha'ala. Verse 19. Wa'atha Salakia Wa'athanaya Ah Hayalawam Nathanium La Aharan La Wala Banayawa Matawaka Banya Yasha'ala La Abad Ah I Badath Banya Yasha'ala Ba'ayal Mawa'ad La Kapar, All, Banya, Yasha'Allah, Wala'ah, Yaha, Yaha, Ba, Banya, Yasha'Allah, Nagab, Bagash, Bagash, Banya, Yasha'Allah, All, Hakodash. Verse 20. Wa Ya'ash, Mashah, Wa Aharon, Wakal, Aidath, Banya, Yasha'Allah, La Layawam, Kakal, Ashar, Tazawa, Yaha, Salakia, Tazawa, Yahawa, Ap, Mashah, La Layawam, Khan, Aishawa, Laham, Banya, Yasha'Allah. All right, verse 11. And Aaron shall offer the Levites before the Lord for an offering for the children of Israel, that they may execute the service of the Lord. You understand? And the Levites shall lay their hands upon the heads of the bullocks, and thou shalt offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering unto the Lord, to make an atonement for the Levites. You got to see how heavy the Lord was into keeping accounts. There was a way that he wanted to be dealt with. The Levites coming to do service for him on behalf of the children of Israel required the slaying of an animal, or the slaying of animals. Something had to die just for them to be able to serve on behalf of the people that they would be offering sacrifices for. That's how serious the Lord is. You can't take the death of Christ as some like Monopoly get out of jail free card. You that's why it's important to go into our records and go through it to see the mind of the Lord. That's why David said, I only have one desire, that I might dwell in the house of the Lord forever, to inquire in his temple and to behold the beauty of the Lord. You understand? That means it means to understand how the Lord has things set up and why. To know him. This is why when it spoke about David, it said that he was a man after the Lord's own heart. In the scriptures, heart ain't talking about what's beating your chest or like feelings. It means mind. He was a man after the Lord's mind. All right. Verse 13, and thou shalt set the Levites before Aaron and before his sons, and offer them for an offering unto the Lord. Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. But guess what? Israel was his, but the Levites were his. I hope you understand. Because amongst all the nations, Israel is his. You understand? But now because of Christ, you know, this is why when you hear the scripture that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom, that is not talking about like your physical body. You know, death to Christianity, man. You know what I'm saying? And may our brothers and sisters that, you know what I'm saying, the pastors that are misleading our people, may they find the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom is talking about that the only people that were allowed to serve God in this capacity were the Levites. And you could only do it if your daddy was a what? A Levite. If you were from any other tribe, you had no position to go in. All you could do was bring your offerings to the Levites. That's it. That's all you could do. And keep the commandments. That was it. You could be a soldier. You could be like a, you know, and within your tribe, a leader. You know what I mean? But you wasn't dealing with the Lord directly. You understand? But that wasn't what the Lord wanted initially. The Lord initially wanted the whole nation of Israel to be a kingdom of priests. He wanted every tribe to come and serve him. But because when Aaron did that golden calf and everybody fell for it, the first tribe to be like, we're with Moses was Levi. That's why he said, I'm separating it from everybody else. And this was from Moses all the way down until Christ. This is what it was. This is what it was. So if your daddy wasn't a Levite, or if your daddy wasn't of the family of Aaron, you couldn't do nothing. When Christ came, Christ dying opened up it for us to be under the order of Melchizedek, not under the order of Levi. In the order of Melchizedek, what's the word? Had preeminence and precedent over the order of the Levites. Levi. That's why in the book of Hebrew it says that Levi, while in the loins of Abraham, because Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek, Levi was in his loins. Y'all know what that means. I ain't finna get graphic. Before even Levi was in, it's so heavy because Levi being in the loins, it just tells you how heavy this thing is. Because Abraham had Isaac, Isaac had Jacob, and Jacob had Levi. But Levi was in the loins of Abraham. So you meditate on that. I ain't gonna get into all that right now. But it said that Levi in Abraham paid tithes unto Melchizedek. Why? Because whoever you pay tithes to, that's who that's your that's an authority over you. So that was the original order. So when Christ came and he did what the Lord instructed him to do, he reinstituted the authority and the order of Melchizedek, because that's what he comes out of. Now, I ain't gonna get into all that either, because that's some heavy stuff. You understand? But being that now you're not a priest because of who your father is. You know, you ever heard the phrase, "Oh yeah, his daddy a preacher. He a preacher's son." That was a lot during, like, you know, our time here in America and slavery, and, you know, coming up out in Jim Crow. Yeah, he a preacher's son. You know, you're not them preacher's sons. Be this whole idea because your daddy was a preacher, now you got to go and be bad and then you find God again. It's all that corny stuff, right? But I'm bringing it up because because of who we really are, we're the Israelites. There's something in that. The idea that because my daddy was something, that I gotta be that, right? And there's a thing in Jeremiah and in Ezekiel that says that no longer shall the children of Israel use this parable or this byword, saying that because the fathers have eaten sour grapes, the children's teeth are set on edge. Meaning that because your father did wickedness, don't mean that his wickedness affects you or you got to do it. You understand? You're not going to be able to say that no more, because the Lord gave us a new covenant. Meaning that now our relationship, our agreement with the Most High is not because of, or our how the Lord see us is not based on what our parents did or what our fathers did. We're not bound to that with Christ. Now we're bound by oath. That means that if you want to serve God, you come up here, you know, you do your time here, your 90 days, shed yourself of the world, you come into the truth and you make an oath to the Lord, get the oil on your head. Now you're under the order of Melchizedek. Now it's about oath, because flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom. You're not going to get become part of the government of God because your father had a position. That's how our oppressor does things. You understand? Back during, you know, Samuel, the prophet Samuel came about. He was a priest as well, but the prophet Samuel, he came into play because there was a man over him named Eli who had two sons, and his sons were priests because Eli was a priest. But his sons, Hophni and Phinehas, they were taking the women that came into the temple, that they were coming to serve in the temple, and they were having sex with them in the temple. They were scumbags, slimy priests, freaky priests, like your like your Christian pastors and your Catholic priests, who use their position to take advantage of people and to harm people, not to teach them what's right from wrong. The scriptures say that a priest's lips should keep knowledge. For what? To show the people what is clean and unclean. What God expects and what he hates. That's your job. Eli's sons was wilding. They were sleeping with the temple servants, the females. When they would bring their offerings, the custom was that you would bring your offerings, right? Your goats, lambs, all that stuff, and the meat would be slaughtered. You would throw it into a pot. So the priest had this hook, like a metal hook, and they would throw it into the hook into the pot and pull it out. And whatever they pulled out with that hook of what got thrown in was theirs to basically like to live off of, because they didn't have jobs. Their only job was the service of the Lord, right? But whatever was left in the pot was to be offered unto the Lord, or it belonged to the Lord. What they would do is that when people would bring their offerings, they see before it got to the pot, say, hey, give me that piece right there. They'd be like, oh no, and the people knew what the custom was. They'd be like, nah, we got to do this. And they'd be like, nah, give it to me now. And if they didn't do it, they put hands on them. So then what would that make you do? It's why people don't go to church now, because they know the pastors are driving in They're driving in Rolls Royces and got big houses and mansions and all that and fly, private. And now people don't want to go to church because they're hearing all these stories about the pastors being undercover. They're sodomites, homosexuals. They're committing adultery with men's wives in the church, right? They're bringing sisters into the office for spiritual counseling and giving them counseling, right? Right. And they dress and act like pimps, and people see them like, no, I'm not even gonna go to the church. I'm spiritual. I find God somewhere else. You know how angry that makes the Lord. How angry that makes him. You understand? They take the position of representing God and they use it to feed themselves, to get wealthy, to perform their lusts. And what's worse is that, they don't yield to any authority. These like Kenneth Copeland and these Creflo Dollar and T.D. Jakes and all these clowns and snakes and fakes. They don't have an authority over them, right? But those two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, they had an authority over them. They had Eli. Eli was the head authority in the temple, and he saw what they were doing. And he talked to him. He was like, yeah, y'all, you sin against a man, that's one thing, but you sin against God, who's going to represent, who's going to step in for you, who's going to come on your behalf. But he didn't remove them from office. He just told them. It wasn't even like a real checking. You see, here in the ISUPK, you violate your oath, you won't be a priest anymore. You'll get removed. You'll get dealt with in here. It's not a, you know how the Catholic Church does. They find out that a priest has been harming children, sexually assaulting children, and they just relocate them to another location. Usually it's somewhere in South America to harm our brothers and sisters, right? To Venezuela or to Chile or to Colombia. They send them here in America. They're out here violating, like in Boston or in Chicago, and they'll send that priest off to some South American parish and let them do their filthiness and work out there instead of getting rid of them. Eli didn't do that. He let them stay there and do what they was doing. And because of that, the Lord always got, the Lord's in control. He's going to find your replacement and get rid of you. So, through Hannah's trouble, her husband had two wives. You know what I'm saying? One of the wives, Peninnah, was having kids like crazy. And Peninnah was the second wife. Hannah was his first wife. He married Peninnah. She started popping out kids. And Peninnah was just being, evil she was a mean girl. She wasn't being a good, she was just being evil to Hannah. But Elkanah, he loved Hannah. He didn't care if she had kids or not. But Hannah was a righteous woman. She never disrespected her husband because of what his other wife was doing. He had a lot of character and strength. She didn't use the behavior of his other wife as an excuse to disrespect him and give him hell. She was one West. She did what righteous women do. She went to the Lord about it. She had come to the school, to the temple, and she had prayed. One day she came praying, and Eli, right? It's why you can always tell like a leader that's not perceptive. He's not checking his sons for what they doing, but he sees Hannah praying and he thinks she's drunk. He ready to call her out. He's like, daughter, you come to the temple. What are you, a daughter of Belial? That's like calling like a daughter of the devil or a wicked woman. You a daughter of Belial. You up here drunk at the temple, and she's praying to the Lord about her situation because she loved her husband, but his other wife is just grieving her, afflicting her, and she wants to bear her husband children. But she's praying to the Lord, like, about the situation. And what she came up with was that if the Lord would give her a son, right, that she would, if he would do it, that she would give her son to him. So she's there before Eli praying. He's like, "What, you drunk?" And she finished her prayer. She's like, "Salakia, sir, I'm not drunk." He's like, "Well, what's going on? What are you doing?" She's like, "I was praying to the Lord. I was sending up a petition." And he's like, "Oh, Salakia, may the Lord fulfill your petition." And then she got pregnant. And she had Samuel. And after she weaned Samuel, she brought him back to the temple. And then she gave her son to Eli. And while Eli and Samuel lived in the temple from that point on, and his sons was out there doing what the hell they was doing, but Samuel was just up under Eli. That was his number. She was there serving Eli. And one day Samuel was asleep, and he hears someone say Samuel. So he gets up thinking it's Eli calling him. He go to Eli. He's like, "Eli, you called me?" Now mind you, he's like 11, 12. He ain't like grown. Eli's like, "Nah, I ain't called you. Go back to bed." Go back to bed. Samuel. Get up again. "Eli, you call me?" He's like, "Boy, what is your problem? Go back to sleep." Third time. Samuel. He gets up again. "Salakia, sir. Someone is calling me. I'm thinking it's you." So then Eli recognized. He was like, "Look, man, go back to bed. But the next time you hear that, say, 'Lord, this is your servant. I'm listening. Like, what do you want me to do?'" So he go back to bed. It happens again. Samuel says that. He says, he's like, "Lord, this is your servant. I'm listening." And the Lord gives Samuel a prophecy about how he's going to kill Eli's sons and kill Eli. You understand? So what am I saying? The Lord know how to take. A person come through that door and they like a young person and you feel like, they don't know. The Lord, that could be your replacement. Remember that. So the next day, Eli comes to him. He was like, "Hey, what happened? What did the Lord tell you?" And Samuel was like, he put his head down because he loved Eli. You know what I'm saying? The Lord know what Eli was on, but Samuel didn't know. That's just who he looked up to. He put his head down. He was like, "Look, man, if the Lord said it, you got to tell me." And he tell him the prophecy, what the Lord said. Like, you ain't judge your sons. You wasn't being a righteous leader. You ain't checked them for doing this wickedness. So they gonna die, and you gonna lose your position, and your house will never serve for me again. And the sons end up getting killed, and then it was like a battle that happened, and the sons was out there, and they get slaughtered, and then they come back and tell Eli. Eli at that time he was getting kind of like he was like fat, and that's how too. Like when white people tell you like, "I never committed slave, I never had a slave, I never did slavery, I'm not responsible for what my forefathers did." You know how I told you how Eli's sons was taking that meat and robbing the people of the meat? Well, if the priests didn't have jobs, who was eating? Eli was eating. It wasn't like he had a job to go get other meat from somewhere else. His sons was robbing the people, and he was eating off of what they robbed. When white people tell you that, "Oh, I didn't do anything, it wasn't me," they're benefiting off of what their forefathers did. Because your forefathers murdered and slaughtered and put our people in slavery, that's why you're able to have this kingdom that you have here right now, this American government and all the benefits that you get. The Homestead Act, where you was able to, your forefathers were able to get land for free that was stolen from the Native Indians. And that wealth was passed down generationally. So yeah, you may not have put a person in chains or had a slave, but your forefathers did it. They put the work in. They shed blood and enslaved people so you could live this good life you're living with all that white privilege. You benefited off of it. You ate off of it. So guess what? You're liable too. And so was Eli, because when his sons was out there doing that evilness and robbing the people of the offerings that belong to the Lord, he ate off of it. I said to say this. When his sons died, Eli had gotten real fat. He was a fat priest. He was fat because he was eating off what the sons was doing. And his vision had began to go very bad. He couldn't see well. So when they came back, it was like, Eli, your sons. He's like, what? He's sitting on a stool. Like, your sons have been killed in battle. And he was just thrown back. So he's like, "Oh," and he fell back and the chair fell. under him, and he fell back and broke his neck. And that's how he died. And then Samuel took over. And then that's, when the time of Samuel and the kings took place. Samuel began to judge Israel. You understand? I'm just saying that, flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom. Because Samuel, I don't even know if Samuel was a Levite or not. I don't know what Elkanah was, what his tribe was. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know, flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom. Just because your daddy is something, don't mean that you automatically just get to have authority with the Lord and harm the people. The people who the Lord is going to put in power and in rulership in this new kingdom are the ones that understand the agenda, the ones that understand the mission of a shepherd, the mission that David understood. To feed the sheep, to feed the flock, and to protect the flock, to watch over the flock. When Peter came back after Christ rose, and Peter was feeling bad because he denied him, and Christ was like, Peter, you love me? He's like, Lord, you know I love you. He said, feed my sheep. Hey, Peter, you love me? It's like you, sir. I don't want you. You know I love you. You feed my lambs. Third time. Peter, do you love me? Lord, I'm sick. Come on, man, because he's feeling horrible about what he did. He denied him 3 times. Christ asked him 3 times. You love me for real? Salakia, sir. Yes, I love you. Come on, man. Yeah. Feed my sheep. That's the job. Your Christian pastors are feeding themselves, and they're feeding the people lies. And the flock don't know no better. So we can't be like them. You understand? And that's what we learn here on the Command General Yana. That's why we have a Sabbath service. That's why we go into the Hebrew and we teach our people the Hebrew, and we speak in tongues by giving it to them in English. If you speak something that a person don't understand, they're gonna be like, oh, what's going on? This is weird. That's why Paul said, well, then don't speak in tongues unless you have someone that can interpret. That's all it means. Just mean language. All right. Anyways, with that, we're gonna close right there. We'll continue on next week with the next portion. Lord allow, if the Lord allow it. Imagine. Go ahead and finish out this service. Salah. I'm going to salute the Torah. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Barakiyah. La Yashala to Israel. Amajim Sar, Wahak Badum, which means to stand, turn, and face the east. Since you can stand and face this way, you don't have to repeat. That's not saying Hebrew, but we're going to go ahead and do the prayers. This is the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'a, Ratazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathunlanawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawafyanawa, Wala'a, Tabia'ayanawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatha Para, La'awalamyam Aman. In the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. So be it. This is the prayer of the power of the Hakak in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Baba Koshah, Nathan Lanawa, Hakak, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Kal Makalah, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, Latahar, Ha Matazarayim, Hakak, Lahaquium, Hamathium, Hakak, Al Rakawat, Hatah Ma'alah, Lagar Shun, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Tawada Amun, in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. This is the prayer to bless Israel. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Barak Lanawa, Wa Yasha'Allah, Waha Bayaf Saparium, Barak, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Tawada Amun. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless us and Israel and the school. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Aisha Ayanya, Ahaharium, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Azariah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hanala'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasha'Allah, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakayaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Afnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'atka, Wabawa'aka, Ma'athai, Wa'id Awalam. In the English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalm 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Al Damayalaka, Al Thakarash, Wa Al Thashakwat, Al Kayahana, Awayabaka, Yahama Yawan, Wa Mashanayaka, Sha'awara'ish, Salakia, Sha'awara'ash, Al Imaka, Ya'arayam Wa Sawad, Wa Ya'atatazawa, Al Tazapawanyaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Wanakyadam, Magauya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Iwad, Kaya, Nawa Atazawa, Lakabyawa, Salakia, Lab Yakadwa, Alyaka, Barya, Yakarthwa, Ahalya, Arawam, Wa Yashama Alyam, Ma Wa Abba, Wahagarium, Gabal, Wa Amawan, Wa Amalak, Palashath, Am Yashabya, Tazawar, Gamashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labinya, Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Lahum, Kamadian, Kasaya Sarah, Kayabian, Banakar, Kwayashwan, Na Shamadwa, Ba'ayan, Da'ara, Hayawa, Daman, La Adama, Shayathamwa, Nadamawa, Ka'arab, Wakazaba, Wakazabak, Wakatazamanai, Kal Nasakamwa, Ashar, Amarwa, Naya Rasha, Lanawa, Af Na'awaf, Alahayam, Alahaya, Shayathamwa, Kagargala, Kakwash, La Penya, Rawaka, Ka'ash, Taba'ariya Ira, Waka Lahaba, Talahat, Haryam, Khan, Daradatma, Basa Irika, Wa Basa Wapatka, Tha Balahum, Mala'a, Panyahum, Kwalawan, Waya Bakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wa Yabalwa, Wa Salakya, Id Ya'id, Waya Kaparwa, Waya Abadwa, Waya Daiwa, Kaya, Atha, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al Yawan, Al Kaharataza. In the English, keep not thy silence, O power, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeeb, yea, all their princes, as Zabah and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power in possession. O my power, make them like the wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm, and fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. This is the prayer of the blessings for the power structure. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayaka Allah, Wa Allahayim, Matazabaya, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapium, Ha Saranyum, Ha Kotazayanyum, Ha Kayalyum, Wa Ha Akwathian, Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Tawada Amun. In the English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. These are the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, and the Israelite brothers and the school. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitatus, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Space Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, CIA, ICE, NSA, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airwaves, the cable access channels and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us or bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, through the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always. So be it. Sar, which means to turn, you can face the podium. I'm going to give a courtesy salute. First to the brothers. Shalakia, men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yah Shah Brakatah, Yazamatah, Sar, turn and face the sisters. Okay, sis. Just repeat after me, or I'll guide you after I'm done. Amajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh, Shamar Alatham Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, Shamar, Al, Athan, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai. Yajamatah, class dismissed.
Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. the ISUPK under Commanding General Yahana presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026 in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and war like apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.